What is going on, guys? It has been way too long, but hey, it's all y'all's fault. You got us so busy, I haven't had time to do any videos or updates or much of anything other than just build turbos in the shop. But you know what? I'm thankful for that. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys. And I promise the wait has been worth it because I've got some really good content coming your way. And we're going to start it off with today's video on something really cool. Sitting on the workbench in the shop today, I have a Garrett TR30R Motorsports turbo. It's a pretty cool piece of racing history sitting right here, and we are going to dive into this baby together and see what it's made of. Going to get you set up on the tripod and get some tools, and let's tear into this bad boy and see what we can find. Excuse my camera shaking around. You know what? One take videos, I like them. I like them a lot. Less editing. So the TR30R, less work. What is the TR30R? Well, it is Garrett's Motorsports turbo, and it is cold in the shop, and nothing's gonna want to come apart real easy. But this turbo was, from the best of my knowledge and my research, developed basically between the years of, some say as early as 2010, some say as late as 2016, some say it even as late as 2018. So my takeaway on this is this turbo probably has many, many different iterations over the years and developments. But if you Google TR30R, you will come up with basically, the same turbo as far as like the housing design. And you may see that each one of them may have a different compressor wheel. This one has your 11+0, so like your GTX Gen 1 style wheel. And some of them will have a 7+7, so a primary and a splitter blade. And I think a lot of it had to do with what engine it was going on, what team it was for, and, hey, Garrett just doing their thing on, trying to make horsepower. This guy here, I don't know much about him. It's came to us for some basic evaluation, and we're going to just see what's going on with it. Got some really cool heat shielding on the turbine housing. This Inconel foil, this is really, really starting to take a hold in the aftermarket. It's been around in the racing world for a long time, and I'll hit some pros and cons to it here in a minute, as well as anything else we stumble across inside of this baby. It's got some fabricated oil drain. It's all already been loosened up before I got my paws on it. Real simple oil drain with probably an AN fitting welded to it. It's all steel, and there's a little mounting bolt probably for a heat shield or a stay bracket on the chassis. V-band compressor connection. Hey, there you go. Looks strikingly familiar to a Gen 1 GTX. Coincidence? I bet you this is where a lot of the development for that compressor program came from. I'll grab some dial calipers in a minute and see all the sizes on this. This is most likely a 71 millimeter exducer. Looks like it might have had a 76 millimeter wheel in it at one point in time. There's a lot of distance between the backplate diffuser and the exducer of the compressor wheel, but right off the bat, I don't see anything super special to this one. It's got some damage to it on the inducer blades. A little bit of rubbing action there, and probably just been used a lot and cleaned a few times, but we'll definitely got some either some handwork or just some erosion going on with it. One thing I will say, the blades are very, very thin on it. Maybe a little thinner than a normal Gen 1 GTX. Let's actually grab a Gen 1 GTX, and this is a 2860. Keep y'all in frame here. But essentially, you know, we got some sharper corners on everything here versus the Motorsports Turbo. But I really think that's, I think we're actually seeing some wear on this guy. You know, these were race applications, so at some point a filter could have come off, or, you know, could have had some trauma, because, you know, the leading edges of this guy, especially over on the inducer, is definitely rolled over. And same on the exducer tips here. But, you know, could also have had some hand finishing work done to it to, you know, do some testing. You never know. Got a little bit of noise to it. It's definitely got some exhaust wheel contact. Let's look at the compressor cover. Compressor wheel, we got some witness marks here on the housing. We're going to check this over for this customer. This client's actually going to run this turbo on his project. He picked it up, wanted a Motorsports Turbo, and hey, this is pretty cool to have. Even if it is a little older technology, it's still a powerhouse, and going to have some new lease on life here for too long. The inlet of these guys, notice everything machined off in these four mounting bolts. The FIA and other sanctioning events required the use of a restrictor on the inlet of all of their turbos, and this restrictor size is probably varied over the years depending on the power output. But this is a really nice machined bell with some cool geometry in it for the inlet of this turbo. It has a pressure sensor here. Y'all guys want to do a little archaeology for me? I don't know if the main restrictor body was provided by the sanctioning organization, the racing organization, and then you could adapt whatever inlet you needed for your filter. But this one is really cool. It's got, if you look really close inside of here, if you can get down where my finger is at, it's not going to focus, of course. There are two little small holes here that reference this pressure chamber. I would pull this off and look in there, but the mounting point is cracked. And I'm going to be very careful with this because it's probably got some historical value. For the client, we're going to remachine a new inlet bell to suit his air filter. He has no reason to run a restrictor in it at all. So we're going to send this baby full bore and see what happens. The compressor housing is standard map width enhanced slot. And I'll measure some of the diffuser and such, but the AR is a 70 AR ratio. And there's your casting number. I don't see any other notes on this at all. Sometimes you'll get, laser etched or hand etched numbers in the diffuser area for like what wheel it was machined or any other, part numbers for internal use. But this unit has been painted and has been media blasted at some point in its life. So it could have had some marks or notes inside of here that got erased. But nonetheless, just a simple cast housing. Obviously some thought put into it as far as diffuser ratio for the wheel that's in it, and probably the AR obviously too. But as far as like the nozzle inside, the volute is it's all pretty standard stuff with production turbos that we see, even OE turbos of the same era. Another provision for another sensor here, more than likely another speed sensor if you needed it, or inlet pressure. Definitely be inlet pressure because there is a small little reference hole right down there. sneaky, hiding away. Man, they monitor everything. Also has this little bitty hole drilled right here. And some of you guys that have ever gone through tech will know what that's for. That is where the tech official will put their band around it and their tamper-proof cord, and they'll probably tie it to another point on the turbocharger so you can't remove it off the car. And so once it goes through tech, it gets that tag on it. But kind of neat that they provided a nice little location to hold that for them. Some other items of interest. Here's the speed sensor that actually goes in the bearing housing of this turbo. So it reads shaft speed directly off of the shaft and not the compressor blades like sensors we are using, but really cool little motorsports connector. Like an Amphenol style. Teeny tiny. We got to do some repair work. It's got a pulled connection in here in the service loop that we're gonna reattach for the customer, and we'll see if I can get another heat shrink boot for it. But focus, baby. Turbo speed. Part number 806523-001, sorry. Serial number 454. All right. Let's see if we can get this exhaust housing off of here. Like I said, definitely got some contact going on, some rubbing back there. And got to get another socket for this guy, of course. Yeah, I'm super excited to dig into this thing and see what is going on. Call for your 10 millimeter socket. Last call, 10 millimeter. I had one of these in my hands a couple of years ago, and it actually had a either a magnesium. I really want to say it was a magnesium compressor cover because it had like a Cerakote, or what used to be like the Dow 7 coatings on it, the little gold coating. And the bearing housing was definitely something exotic. It was either cast magnesium or like it even could have been titanium. The client for that one, unfortunately, I was under a strict no talk about, no photo, nobody can see this turbo. And I literally took it out of the box and checked the clearances on a turbine wheel to turbine housing. And that was all that I did. All right, so another hole there. That's off for the tag, for the tamper-proof tag on it. But this is your provisions for your speed sensor. You got one on each side, so depends on where, in the chassis you've got it. Really cool oil feed standoff pipe that probably holds the bearing retainer pin, and turbine wheel, 9-bladed, tall tip height. Looks kind of like the UHF arrow that has been around for a minute, but definitely a much broader tip height where it goes into the turbine housing. But turbine wheel has had some touchdowns on it. It's got some trauma. Bearing structure sounds typical Garrett. Got a little bit of axial motion in it. Tad bit of radial. Typical with these guys. We'll dig into it a little further, but I bet you this is going to have a very familiar looking bearing structure in it once we get it apart. Very light. Even though it's cast iron or cast steel, aluminum backplate, very different than the GT28, GT30 style, and the fact that it has a bolt-on backplate and not one with the big snap ring. A little bit more robust. Probably adds a little bit of weight, but at the same time, you need things to be sturdy when it's getting bounced around in a rally car or time attack car, or what have you. Turbine housing. V-band inlet. There are no ARs on this one at all. No etching anywhere. It's been cleaned up with like a wire wheel, and it has definitely had some not professional Tootsie Roll grinder slash cleanup work to the inside of it. That's most likely what is rubbing in there. Is we're just going to have to go through and clean and restore all of these surfaces, the mounting flanges, and we'll go through and reestablish the radius. It appears to be stainless. We can weld it as needed and remachine, but I'm sure it's got some Garrett markings and stuff underneath this Inconel foil, but this was done by Thermomet Heat Management Solutions. Unfortunately, this thing got handled pretty rough in shipping. We got some marring over of the shielding, but this shield has an air gap between it and the turbine housing, and usually it has a basalt or a synthetic fiber barrier between the stainless of the turbine housing and the Inconel foil on the outside. But it's a pretty effective way of keeping the radiant heat that's generated from these glowing hot turbines, from heat soaking surrounding areas. And it's not as aggressive as a blanket, but in a motorsports application, you probably want to be able to service everything all the way, get to all your hardware real easy. Don't want the bulk of a big blanket. So it's a very trick little piece. All right. I got to buzz this baby loose, and I'm going to put you on pause, and I'll be right back with you. Get this set up, and we'll get this baby the rest of the way apart. All right, got you up in the vise. Typical shaft nut for T2, T28 up to GT30 size stuff. Wheel's a little tight on there, so throw a little heat on this bad boy. Definitely got trauma to the blades. It's not engineered that way. It's been handled a little rough. All right. No part numbers that I can see, but again, this has been vapor honed or media blasted at some point in its life, but you can definitely see the trauma to the inducer of some of the blades here. That one's rolled over pretty good, but we'll dig into that a little further for the client as we get there. All right, let's put you back over on the disassembly table. Yep, see my messy shop. I told you, y'all have us busy. Organized chaos. Chaotically organized. All right. I don't want to assume this comes apart the way I think it does, even though I'm pretty sure what we have here is going to be standard. We're going to go at this lightly. Probably not just going to phone up Garrett Garage and get parts for this thing very easily. all in the frame. Yeah. I can already tell you it's got some different component pieces in it than I was expecting. Interesting. Quad ring. Sealing O-rings between the back plate. That will, if you're familiar with this, the sealing ring or the quad ring seals around the outside of this and rides in a register in the bearing housing. And unfortunately, these bolts, through bolts, are in the oil cavity. So that's a pretty cool touch to have them O-ringed on that side. A lot of times we will see like a Daughtry washer, we'll mispronounce that, underneath the head of the bolt. But the problem with those is you generally have to give up some torque strength there, or the possibility of it tearing when you tighten it down. So the oil flinger, really cool. The oil flinger is what picks up on the shaft speed sensor. So remember me showing you had the 2 ports for the shaft speed? Those protrude there, and you have 2 pickup points as this guy spins. So pretty neat. The Garrett G series, larger G series, like G47, all the way up to G57 utilizes it. GT55 as well. Twin compressor side seal rings. Twin, but they share a common groove. I'm not a real big fan of this. It's standard practice, but I like to see divorced seal ring grooves. Does a much better job in my findings anyway. Back plate is really, really, really light. It has no extra material anywhere, really, other than maybe right in this radius here. But nothing real fancy about it other than its manufacture. Again, this baby's been handled a little rough. Seal bore has definitely seen better days. That's going to take refreshing or remanufacturing of a whole nother plate. Yeah, we definitely have had some pretty hard use out of this guy. We've got contact between the flinger seal holder and the back plate. All right. I'll pull this cap off here if I can. This is going to definitely have the locating pin for the bearing, but so far the bearing feels really good, so we're going to be very careful. Get these little O-rings out of here too. Notice this is not water cooled. This will be oil only. And I don't see a restrictor. There may change as we get deeper down inside of it, but we grab a socket and we will pull this baby apart. Behind the scenes over here, making a lot of noise. Y'all like, what is Reed digging at? We'll try to find my one socket that's not here that I need. I don't ever set things up on camera the right way, and stage it where I have all the tools laid out perfectly. I'm a human being. I'm not a robot. To be honest with you, I'm really not a big planner I've done some planning on some of my videos that y'all have watched, my boost control ones and stuff with all the diagrams, but for the most part, I just like to go at it. So 0 restriction in this guy, and I have to check that, but I believe this is titanium. It is very, very light. And we've got our bearing retaining pin. Very similar to, maybe even identical to other Garrett R Series turbos of a similar platform size. If y'all have ever wondered how to remove these pins, there's probably a million different ways better than this, but I use my slide hammer. And it's got a threaded insert. It's 4mm by 7. And then usually they just very carefully just pull them right out. Just like that. It's not the prettiest tool in the world, but gets the job done. It's really not pretty, but that screw is sacrificial, so it gets welded on there many, many times. Yeah, looks like a standard like T20, GT28, GT30, 2554, whatever your bearing retainer pins. We'll see how lucky we get. This guy will. It's not going to just push out real easy with my hand, so I'm going to put you on pause for a second. I'm going to go press the shaft out. Nothing fancy. I just got a little arbor press, and now that the pin is removed, the bearing will drop back up against the recessed cavity where the seal ring goes on the exhaust side, and it'll keep you from separating the cage and everything. But do that if you need to press. Just got a little arbor that this fits on in my arbor press and works right up. Be right back. All right, 2 phone calls later and a UPS driver. We got the shaft out of this guy. Really nice machined heat shield. No stampings there. No signs of trauma between the wheel and the heat shield. Single exhaust seal ring. And no markings, no part numbers on the shaft anywhere I can see. There's your casting number. Looks like 9358. The little Garrett A on there. A little different font than I'm used to seeing. And then the M on it. This is probably a Mar M. I need to look and see. It escapes me the difference between the triangulated nut and the 6-sided nut. One is Inconel, one is Mar M material. But yeah, this guy somebody has polished on it by hand. It's got some sanding marks and stuff on it, but we'll check the shaft for straightness and get it happy. Let's see about this bearing. Oh, cool. All right. So, like I said, it's not water cooled, so we're going to see some heat on this guy. The bearing is a cage design. It's got the phenolic cage in the back and the front, not a metal cage. No part numbers on it anywhere. I'm going to pull a It's just your production bearing here. This is out of a G series. So GT series has, and G series, well, actually, no, I just lied to you. I'm going to have to think about that a little bit. Normally, they have the seal holder as the front race, not just this setup here. And it escapes me. G series has 2 seal rings on the front. I can't remember if it has a separate piece. I'll add that into the comments later on. But bearing, nothing. It's had a little heat in it, but man, it is silky smooth. Got lucky there. Rear exhaust seal appears to be same size as T2 stuff, so nothing fancy. But again, no part numbers or anything on this at all. Just a very simple little casting. It did have this oil flinger at the rear. Surprisingly loose fit. I've got a couple of tenths there of motion, so that's going to be fun to balance, but we'll work through it. But yeah, it would have had an oil flinger on the back side of it, I guess, to help. A lot of these turbos, especially like in the Subaru platform, were rotated mount, where they had a lot of exhaust downward angle on the axis. So the addition of this extra flinger would definitely help keep unwanted oil from getting to the rear exhaust seal, which this turbo hasn't been run since somebody's gone through it and just cleaned it up. But piston ring side clearance, just looking at it, looks probably about the upper limit of the spec, but still in spec. Don't feel any steps to it or anything. So I'm going to go grab some dial calipers so we can measure this guy. I'll be right back. I'll put you on pause one more time. All right. Got a couple extra things too. Don't mind my crude method of measuring everything, but we're going to have a little discrepancy in the measurement just from somewhere in the 50 by 60 range, 60 inducer, 50 exducer, and we'll people make fun of my little dividers, but they are something I made 30 something years ago. Modified dividers to do inside measuring. I've got fancy Mitutoyo 3-point inside micrometers, but we just need something close. So the bore in the turbine housing is 52.97. So we pull that away, we're going to be somewhere right around 52 millimeter turbine wheel exducer. So if we do, let's do zero that out and inch millimeters. I don't do a lot of metric stuff, so I'll give us our basic clearance of that. We'll go back to zero absolute, and we'll go back to inches millimeter, and we'll close it off. So yeah, 52 millimeter turbine wheel, give or take, by the time you take clearance out of it for everything. And compressor wheel should be a 71 millimeter exducer. 71.4, and same deal, really can't measure it with an odd number of blades on it, but we're going to measure that restrictor while we're here too. I know some of y'all are curious as to what restrictor, like, Reed, measure the restrictor. That'll tell us maybe what class or series it came from. I'm going to get you close. All right. Compressor wheel is going to be approximately a 51.1 millimeter. And we'll measure this restrictor while we're here. Probably can't see any of this on camera. I'm sorry. And yes, I'm probably going to do a little bit of cheating and look at this geometry on this guy. You know, I'm sure that some race team has put forth a tremendous amount of effort into making sure every last bit of air possible is going to do its thing. It is surprising. It has got a pretty sharp breakover right here. You know, I've found that, you know, an increasing radius to the outer dimension, you know, that folds back over itself does very well. I'm not saying it's the best, but it does good for me. So the restrictor inlet measurement is... We'll just put that in there, 0 it. I'm a mess, guys. I'm all over the place. 45 millimeter. 45 millimeter. So yeah, some of y'all that research a lot of this stuff probably can tell me what racing series, you know, time frame, because I know they've been all over the place on restrictor sizes. So put the keyboard to work. Tell me where you think this turbo came from. All right, so let's see here. I've got a Garrett catalog from 2008. Let's see if the TR30R is in here. The T350R is. Let's see if this Motorsports turbo is even in here. Can't remember what year I first saw a Motorsports turbo in the Garrett catalog, but it exists. All the days before billet wheel. We got ball bearing though, didn't we? The disco potato days. And 3271. Don't see that. 3076. I think this is a little early. This is, like I said, 2008. Nope, here we are. Look at there. So, hey, I've done a little bit of digging. And there you are, TR30R. The snowbait power slides of Rally Norway. The grueling enduro feats of 24 hours of Le Mans. The twists and turns of Sebring. The world's top factory race teams trust only one company to provide a power adder tough enough for these and many, many more. The company is Garrett, and the turbocharger is the revered TR30R. Each TR30R is custom made to your specific requirements. All right, so 76 or 73 millimeter turbine wheel, 3 turbine housing ARs, 57, 67, and 80, and turbine housing outlet is an 80 millimeter V-band with a 75 millimeter inlet. Air-cooled center cast housing from either iron or titanium, so that definitely tracks with the other turbo I had that was lighter. And compressor wheel options. There are quite a few. I'm going to not sit here and bore you with reading them, but so 70 millimeter exducers, you had a 56 and a 40 trim. And in 76 millimeter exducers, you had a 56 and a 40 trim. So basically what you're getting is higher pressure ratio capability or wider, you know, depending on the trim. And generally speaking, the smaller exducer will give you a little bit faster boost response. Up to 560 horsepower. M50 material GT25 bearing. NS111 turbine wheel. High flow, high efficiency turbine wheel, which is the same aerodynamics used on the current GT28R turbos, available in either 73 or 76 trim. Interesting. I'll put this up on a page on our website and mention it in the comments, but this is the Garrett Turbocharger catalog from 2008. I lost a lot of my catalogs unfortunately in a fire a while back, many years back, and I had a lot of really cool things. One of my other videos goes over I didn't think this was in this catalog. Turbo Guide. This one right here doesn't even have a date on it. Let's see. It's Honeywell Garrett. Has a lot of info, but no date on it. But one of my other videos, I touched on Ballistic Concepts, Garrett's ball bearing initial performance catalog. And I'll copy this and put it up on my website as well. This kind of goes over some of the history of, back as far as 1998 as they went from the heavy duty 360 thrust bearing and big shaft stuff into the ball bearing platform. But this is basically one of the earliest motorsports. This was still when Garrett was an Allied Signal company. So kind of cool. Anyway, I'll put some of that up on the website as well. I'll wrestle y'all out of the phone holder here. Let you look at my one more time. Hey, I appreciate y'all guys tuning into this. I'm going to cover some more stuff in the very near future on this turbo, but this is kind of a neat look inside, and I'm going to post some more details on it in the comments and a link to the website. It'll probably be probably a week after I publish this video before I'll get the website updated. The wife that does all of that, she's got our little one at the house right now. So he's out of school for Christmas holidays, and so I don't have my website help right now. Awesome. Hey guys, I appreciate you very much, and we will see you soon.